Hi, everybody. This is an update on the weather rules tab, which is one of the most important pieces of the platform because this is where the rules and thresholds that you set for your different activity types flows through all of the results in the rest of the platform. And in and of itself, it's a really useful report. So if you head over to the reports tab, you can then go to weather rules, and you should see weather rules v2. If you don't, then either you are on an old project, which is originally using the v1, or you're in a new project which is using v2. But if it's, hopefully you're seeing v2 now. More and more projects should just be on the v2. And the reason the v2 is good is because it has so many more weather variables and different data granularities that you can utilize for looking at risk on your projects. So it looks a little bit different to how it used to look. And so I'm just going to go all of the basically all of the diagrams that you have associated with your different weather rules, so that you can understand what the thresholds associated to your different categories are. Categories are things like lifting and concrete, and then the rules are the thresholds for temperature or rainfall or cloud cover that you might want to associate with your categories. Categories like lifting may have 1, 2, or 10 different thresholds associated to them, and you can always play around with these. When you initially load in, there will be a default, and you can then tweak that default as you see fit. So in the top right-hand corner is a risk matrix actions. So you can always view the default risk matrix, which is the EHAB default, unless you have a specific organizational default. I'll get to that in a second. We now have this tab system across the top, so you can your org default in from wherever you are. Or we now have this feature where you can use a previous set of rules on one project that you want to reuse again. Then you can just simply copy the risk matrix from that project. But if I get rid of the defaults for a second and just look at the overview, we now have this ability to hide or view different categories, same as what we used to have before, but it's just a slightly different mechanism. So I can go into this list and I can unhide asphalt, for example, and maybe cables, or if you log out, log in. So I know someone was having some troubles on that, so we fixed that issue. But effectively, this enables you to just see the categories that you want to see. And if you actually uploaded a plan for this site, so in the top left-hand corner, you can see I'm in the main division, I'm in the Cardiff Port project, I'm on the site Cardiff Port. If you have a program loaded in, then you can actually see just the activity types on that plan. So if I select the plan here, let's go for this top plan here, and you can see I now have this selector, so I can see just the plan cats. So in this particular plan, I have a couple of items in there. Or I can just go back to revert to all of the ones that I've got selected. You can always add a category. So you just have to follow this flow. You can call it whatever you wish. And then there's different kind of high-level categories you can select from. And so you'll be able to see all of the different variables that are available to you in here. So if you don't see something that you might want, then you can always flick back and you can then see what are the variables that are associated to there. Once you've added your rule, you just then put it here. So max, I want it to be greater than, it needs to be greater than 4. I need to add that threshold set of data we have back to 1980, which gives you the opportunity to understand how much downtime. It says work can proceed on days where minimum temperature is above 5 degrees. I can change this to 0 degrees. I can update that limit. And then this is going to update the output of this graph. So in this particular case, it's obviously less than that. However, if you want to retain this rule, you need to leave the page or refresh the page and you haven't clicked Save Changes, then that rule will not persist. So of course, it allows you to play around with it, but you may not have saved it. Now, what you can also do is you can drag this down. So if I want to have the 0 rule to now sit across these items here, I can do that. Same, for example, with this. If I wanted to just drag this down to here. So now I've got basically similar functionality to what you might have within a spreadsheet. You can get rid of the empty columns if you wish, and you can flick between and look for different variables within here. And if you read across the top, you can see there's quite a lot of additional specific places where you can add in data now as well. So you have some of these other kind of custom categories that we've been building. So really encourage you to take a look and explore this. So the final thing to say is just in terms of navigation. So if you are hiding things in these categories, will appear in this little hidden categories basket, so that you can then unhide or unhide all, for example. And then if you want to search, the quickest way to do this is just to search here. So then you can see my lifting rules are directly here, and I can just flick between and look at the possible. The reason we got rid of the spreadsheet was because this introduced too many errors into the system. And so if you have any questions about this, just let me know. We'll be happy to help. The top right-hand corner, just create a new account to be able to utilize that system. Please go to that support link, and then you'll be able to access support and see exactly where your ticket is in the queue of issues being addressed.